Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take on a 2015 Harley Davidson 48, and I'm going to bob the rear end, turning it from this into this. We took about 7.5 inches off of the rear fender, moved the tail lights and turn signals forward, and replaced the sissy bar with a removable sissy bar. The first thing I had to do, of course, was to remove the old fender, the old lights, and the old sissy bar. I did have a little trouble with some nuts and bolts for the light mounting hardware that I couldn't get them to release, and I tried PB Blaster, I tried everything, so I ended up having to cut the lights off and rebuild the bolt kit or the mounting kit, and I also ended up having to rewire the lights, and I did not want to do that, but it turned out okay. With everything off and out of the way, I could start the rebuild. The first step was to test, fit, and mount the new mounting hardware for the removable sissy bar. I had to drill some new holes and create my own mount points for that, and it turned out to be a very straightforward process. The two frame ends would now protrude beyond the back of the sissy bar and the new fender by about 2.5 inches, so I needed to cut them off. While I had the angle grinder out, I also trimmed back all of the mounting hardware for that removable sissy bar. The bolts were not anywhere near the tire, but in order to work on things in the future, it made it easier to trim all the bolts back to the face of the nut, and that keeps the wheel well area clean and free from protrusions. Since I had trimmed 7.5 inches off of the rear fender, I had to remove the tail light, and it was affixed to that metal fender with a double-sided tape. So I gently cut that away and was able to reinstall the old tail light in the shorter fender. With the taillight reinstalled on the shorter fender, it was time to put the fender back on the bike. And in order to stabilize the fender, I needed to create a new mounting bracket for the back end. The old bracket would not fit anymore. I used 3/16 bar stock to do this, so it's very stable and could support a lot of weight and force. I heated the 3/16 bar and bent it and then shaped it to match the old fender mount. Shortening the fender and moving everything forward made everything tighter. And so not only would I attach this frame support or fender support to the frame of the bike, but I would also mount the lights in the same holes. And so my light mounting kit that I made for my lights, I had to remake those because I had to cut the old ones off, actually are what bolts this support to the frame of the bike. I went back with LED parts for my taillights, and I bought those off of Amazon, and it probably goes without saying, but those LED retrofits are able to plug into the old incandescent light mounts. But since I had cut mine off and had to redo the wiring harness, I ended up having to solder on and permanently affix my LED lights. And it ended up working out okay. Everything functions properly and fit together nicely. But if you were changing out your lights to LEDs, you shouldn't have to do any soldering. It should just be a plug and play top deal. Thanks for joining me today and watching this rebuild. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.